Hello all, my name is Rahman and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And in this video, we'll be starting to work with Azure services and we'll be talking about what is Azure and we'll be taking a tour of Azure Portal, like what it is, how does it looks, all of those stuff. Let's go ahead and get started. Now let's talk about what actually is Azure. Now imagine that you have a toy box with a lot of toys in it. Now whenever you want to play, you open it and you play with that toy and you have to take it out of that box of that toy box and put it back when you are done playing, right? Now sometimes you might forget where you kept your toys, all of those stuff happens with that. Now imagine that the toy box is like a big computer that stores a lot of information and the programs. Now, Azure is like a special toy box that belongs to a company known as Microsoft. Now, it's also called as Microsoft Azure. Instead of toys, it stores things like websites, applications, and the data. Just like how you can organize your toys in different ways in your toy box, people who use Azure can organize their information in different ways too. Now they can also access their information from anywhere in the world, from any computer. Just you need your email address, all those stuff. Now, just like you can take your toy box to the friend's house to play with it and to share that with your friends, right? Now, another example of it is Google Cloud Platform, and another is similar to that AWS, Amazon Web Services, which is like a toy box belonging to Google, GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Now, both Azure and Google Cloud Platform are the special places where people can store their data and access information on the internet. So, similar to that, there is one more service called AWS, Amazon Web Services, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and Amazon Web Services. These are the popular cloud computing platforms. Now, you might be thinking, what is Azure? Now, you might have not understood right now. Azure is a powerful and flexible cloud computing platform created by the Microsoft that provides the individual and the business with a range of tools and services to manage their applications and the data. Now, let's take a tour of Azure Portal. Now, before taking a tour, you might be thinking that what actually is Azure Portal. Right now, Azure Portal is a web-based unified console that provides an alternative to command line tools. You can manage your Azure subscription with the Azure Portal. So it's like a graphical interface. It's a website where you can manage your subscription, where you can manage your data, all of those stuff. Now let's go and open the Azure Portal. Just you have to open the browser and just type portal.azure.com, and then it's going to open something like this page. Now after opening this page, what happens is you're going to you are going to get this sign in option. If you are not a Azure cloud computer, if you are not an Azure user, if you have not used this previously, then you're going to get this sign in page. Okay, so we have to sign in, give your email address, all of the stuff which is going to happen. So you have to just give your information, and then you're going to get on this page. Now here, after opening, this page is going to look something like this. Now for the Azure, you have to pay the subscription. Now it's going to start with the an Azure free trial. So it's going to get the $200 free credit for covered Azure products and the services, plus 12 months of popularity free services. Now, if you are using Azure, if you want to store your data, now it's going to provide you the $200 credit, which is normal, which is less. Okay. Now, if you want to use Azure for storing the data, a lot of data for a lot of time, then you have to pay as you go for the Azure. So it's depending on what you are purchasing. So you have to go there and purchase. Now you can just search here the cost management. Okay, now it's going to open something like this page where you can buy the subscription, where you can do all those stuff. Now let's go ahead. Now let's see the services that Azure is providing us right now. Now there are a lot of services that Azure is providing, right? Now the first comes is The most commonly used categories is going to come is the computing, networking, storage, mobile, databases. It's used also used for the web, IoT, which is also called as Internet of the Things. It's also used for big data, artificial intelligence, and the development operation, which is also called as DevOps. So for these things, basically Azure is used mostly. Now there are a lot of other things that a lot of people are using Azure. Now these are the main things. Now let's talk about them in detailly. Now if I talk about the compute, now, compute services are often one of the primary reasons why companies move to the Azure platform because Azure provides a range of options for hosting applications and the services. Now, there are a lot of examples of compute services in the Azure. The first come is the Azure Virtual Machines. Now, Windows or Linux virtual machines, which is also called as VM virtual machine, is hosted in the Azure. The second comes is Azure Virtual Machine Scale Sets. Scaling for Windows or Linux VM virtual machines hosted in Azure. So there are a lot of other examples here. Now the main things for Azure is used as I said that it's used for computing, networking, storage, databases, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and all of those stuff and many more. So anyhow, let's now we know that we learned about the computing. You might be thinking why actually Azure is used. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a company where, let's say it's an e-commerce company. Okay, we are selling the products. Now, a lot of people are coming and purchasing from your website. Now, what happens? Let's say that there are 100 people. Now, you can manage their data on your laptop, or on your computer. So, because they are going to sign in, they are going to give their addresses, all of those stuff. Now, if 1,000 or 50,000 people are using that website, now where you are going to store their data, right? So their data is very much important for us. So for that we need to purchase the servers, we need to purchase the hardware, all of the stuff. So for that it's going to take a lot of money. Now what Azure does is it's going to provide just the storage or the things that you want. Okay, now it's going to provide us the storage. Now what you can do, you have to just give the money to the Azure company, and then it's going to provide you the storage. Instead purchase the separate one, and then you have to maintain that, you have to maintain its heat, you have to, now as the people are increasing, what you have to do, you have to increase the servers, right? So it's going to be pretty much costly for you. So for all of these things, Azure is going to do that, and you have just pay for the Azure. So this is what the use of Azure, and the same thing is going to happen with the GCP, which is also called as Google Cloud Platform, and another thing called as the AWS, Amazon Web Services. Now you might be thinking how to create an Azure account. After opening this page, you are going to get the, what we say, the sign in page where you have to sign in. Okay, now you can check your subscriptions here, you can check here the resource groups. So these are called as resource group. Now in Azure there are a lot of things such as the containers, Kubernetes, the resource groups, the resources. There is a lot of difference between resource group and resources, so we'll be talking about that in another tutorial. So anyway guys, that's all for this video, and I hope you liked and enjoyed watching this video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you all in another tutorial. Thanks for watching and goodbye.